Cowboys Nation, let's ride. Cowboys Nation, let's ride. Cowboy Nation, let's ride.
Shut up.
Let's ride.
Whose world is this?
The world is yours. The world is yours.
It's mine. Whose world?
So as we all know, today we had a joint practice against the Denver Broncos. And usually, I wouldn't even care about a joint practice. It's nothing but a little scrimmage. It's not an actual preseason game, or let alone a real game. But the only reason why I'm really mad is because today was a spitting image of the game versus the San Francisco 49ers in the playoffs last year. One team came out and had all of the energy, while the other team came out playing scared, soft, and came out just flat. I mean, aside from Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons, what are we as a Cowboy Nation really talking about? Nothing changed from last year. The day consisted of a bunch of penalties and false starts. And on top of that, our players were getting taunted by the Denver Broncos all day. Their defensive line was talking crazy to our QB1 Dak Prescott. Not one offensive lineman came to help out Dak with talking trash back. Dak was on his own. The rest of the offensive line ran back to the huddle like, nah, we don't want any problems. Our coach said no fighting. So you let your quarterback, your QB1, your starting $40 million man go at a bunch of defensive linemen by himself. Let that sink in. And during another instance, one of our players got jumped. He got tired of the Denver Broncos acting tough, and he went at him. And the rest of the Denver Broncos came for their teammates back, and they started jumping the Cowboy player. Where was his teammates at? Oh, they ran back to the huddle because their head coach said, no fighting. If you get caught in the fight, you get kicked out of practice. So they ran back to the huddle and watched their man get jumped on the field by about 6 to 7 Denver Broncos players. Our star running back had his head taken off by the Broncos defensive end or outside linebacker, Bradley Chubb. And this happened in the period where I'm pretty sure the players were supposed to stay up. You know, we call it thud period, where, you know, you wrap up, let the player know you're there, but don't take him to the ground. Bradley Chubb came off the right side and clocked Ezekiel Elliott. Once again, Ezekiel Elliott just got up and jogged to the end zone. Now one offensive lineman came to his defense and said, yo, that was a cheap shot. What you trying to do? No, let's go back to the huddle. Our head coach said no fighting. Solved. We're not physical yet. Like, why can't this team get physical? At the end of the day, when it comes to a joint practice, there is no scores. There is no how many touchdowns you score. It's all about competing, being physical. And we were flat out physical for the whole practice. Like, I saw something on Twitter that said, you would never know that the Cowboys was a 10+ win season last year and the Broncos was a 7-win season team. If I didn't know any better, it looked like the Cowboys was a 7-10 team and the Denver Broncos went to the playoffs. That's how bad, in my opinion, we look today. And like I said, I don't care about how many touchdowns were scored. I'm just talking about you go out there and you compete. You play physical, you play fast. You don't come out scared and flat. And like I stated in the beginning of the video, the only reason why I'm really mad is because that's exactly how we played against the San Francisco 49ers and we lost in a wild card once again. And nothing's changed. So besides that little rant, in this video, I'm going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly for the Dallas Cowboys versus the Denver Broncos in their joint practice. Starting out with the good. Micah Parsons balled out. He was all over the field. They asked him, Micah, how many sacks you had? He said he doesn't know. Quite a few. That man is unblockable. He stayed in the backfield, making plays, flying around from sideline to sideline, playing physical. I wish the rest of the team gets the type of mentality that Micah Parsons actually has. Next, Dak Prescott was sharp all day. I mean, from the beginning of practice, I think he had 9 straight completions. And he was completing the ball to his number 1 receiver and hopefully one of our best players on the offense this year, CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb was out there cooking people. So in my opinion, I can really see Dak throwing for 5,000 yards. And I can see CeeDee Lamb getting at least 1,500. Unless if we don't have a good offensive line and establish a run game, there is no passing game because the defenses won't have to load the box up for the run. So now they're doubling CeeDee Lamb. And Dak is either going to get sacked or have 2 players on his number 1 target. So Unless the offensive line get their thing together, this connection that we're seeing throughout training camp and joint practices means nothing. Now here comes the bad. Like I said, the offensive line struggled from the jump. I mean, Dak was getting harassed constantly from the first play of the game to the last play of the scrimmage. The Denver Broncos defensive line was in our backfield constantly. We never established a run game. Every pass play, somebody was in Dak's face. I'm surprised that we got the ball to CeeDee Lamb because our offensive line played that terrible. Our right tackle, we might as well had me out there. We was getting out physical, penalties, and we weren't protecting each other. Whenever your starting quarterback gets in a little scuffle, a little argument, you're supposed to have his back. When your star running backs get a cheap shot taken on them, you're supposed to have his back. Our offensive line played soft all day. They had false starts. And they made the Denver Broncos defensive line look like all pros across the board. So pretty much, when it comes to the bad, is our offensive line. We're going to have a long season if we don't get that corrected. And now for the ugly. I pretty much touched on this early in the video. There were fights all day. But not just fights all over both fields. The fights were pretty much with the Cowboys offense and the Broncos defense. Now you might ask yourself, why is that? Because our defense, they will fight back. We do have some dogs in the defense. Nobody's going to punk Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence. Our safeties are pretty tough. You know, our corners, Jordan Lewis is going to fight back. Anthony Brown is going to fight back. Trayvon Diggs didn't play today. I'm kind of mad about that whole situation because the Denver Broncos star corner, he was out there, so why can't ours? We can't live in the past off those 11 picks, but that's a different story for a different day. But yeah, all the fights were against our offense because they know our offense is soft. The offensive line is not fighting anybody. They're not protecting our quarterback, our star running back. So yes, all the fighting was the ugly just because we weren't really fighting. We was getting beat up on. But those were my observations from today's joint practice against the Denver Broncos. Comment below if you agree with everything I said. If not, comment below your thoughts. And while you had to go ahead and leave a like. And like I always say, if you're a diehard Cowboy fan or just an NFL fan in general, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now because it's free. But until next time,